Okay, so we'll continue with the same unit today, and
Okay.
we'll be looking at relative clauses and passive modals.
Okay.
All right. So could you please read the instructions?
Nick is at the Newsline office. He's talking with Talia, Amy, and Tony about the end of the scandal. Look at the picture. Nick asks Tony for a favor. Predict what do you think he says? Maybe I like Talia to interview me.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You must be so happy.
I'm so relieved. My name has been cleared. This has been a nightmare.
I can imagine. They really had you on the ropes. Your own teammate trying to frame you.
Yeah, ambition can make you do crazy things, I guess.
Now that the truth has come out, how about giving Newsline an exclusive interview?
No, that depends.
Depends on what.
I'll talk to Newsline, as long as my favorite reporter gets to do the interview.
I'm assuming you must mean Talia.
Of course he does.
Just one more thing. Can we schedule the interview for later? Gotta go to soccer practice now.
No problem. Talia will be waiting for you.
Okay, so yeah, that was his condition to give the interview.
Yes.
Okay. So let's see what we have for questions. Okay. So why does Nick say he's happy?
Everyone knows he's innocent.
Yeah, his name has been cleared.
Yes.
And why doesn't he agree to give Newsline an interview right away?
He doesn't know. He doesn't know if he has time to give an interview now because he has a practice later.
Is that the reason why he doesn't agree at first?
I mean,
Not about when he's gonna give the interview, but I mean, he's not like when Tony asks, "Could you give Newsline an interview?" He's like, "No, well,
a condition, right?
yeah."
Yeah, he wants Tony to promise to let Talia to do the interview first. Yeah, you're right.
So, what does Nick mean by saying ambition can make you do crazy things?
He is summing up his team's made unfair actions.
And why does he want to do the interview later?
He has to go to soccer practice.
Yes. Okay. Right, so well, that was great. 4 out of 4. Okay. So now let's take a look at what we have here for these object adjective clauses, which are basically those relative clauses that we have seen in the previous module. So it's actually the same. So adjective clauses, which are also called relative clauses, the one we saw, are some pronouns like which or what or that or who that identify nouns or indefinite pronouns such as one, someone, and something. So for example, you are the two people I wanted to see. So here it's kind of implied, right? Because you could say you are the two people who I wanted to see or that I wanted to see. So I wanted to see is an adjective clause because it identifies the two people that you wanted to see. So Nick wanted to see these particular people. So basically this is the clause and the relative pronoun would be that or who, but we're kind of leaving it out right now. So that or who. And I wanted to see will be the relative clause. This is the relative clause. This will be the relative pronoun. Relative clause. And the relative clause is identifying the first main clause. So the relative clause is giving you information about the main clause. Well, it's giving you more specific information about the main clause. You're the two people that I wanted to see. So that's the relative clause right there. And this is the relative pronoun.
Okay.
Okay. So they often begin with a relative pronoun, what I was telling you. So it could be who, or it could be that, it could be where, the ones we saw last module. So it could be which, who, that. That is usually for both people and objects. So, for example, this is the recording that I told you about. So that is the relative pronoun. We could also use which, because we're talking about a thing, an object. So the recording which I told you about. So the relative pronoun in that case is that, and it refers to the recording. It's identifying the recording.
So that is relative pronoun.
Yes, this is the relative pronoun. And the clause that follows, the clause that's identifying the main clause, that's the relative clause. Or the adjective clause, as they call it here. Relative pronoun and relative clause. This one here is identifying this here. So what recording is that? It's the one that I told you about. So it's giving you more information. So I told you about is giving you information on the tape. So the relative pronoun combines two sentences into one. So let's take a look at this.
The relative pronoun combines two sentences into one sentence.
That's the video. Talia made the video. That's the video that Talia made.
Okay. So when you have two clauses that are referring or talking about the same thing, you can always put them together with a relative pronoun. So for example, when we have something like, I don't know, Valencia is, I don't know, located in Spain. And then Valencia has a dense population of, okay, let's say that number. So if two sentences are referring to the same thing, in this case, Valencia, you can always find a way to put them together. You can use a relative pronoun. You could say Valencia, which is located in Spain, has a dense population of 1 million people, maybe. Or Valencia, that has a dense population of 1 million people, is located in Spain. So you can always put them together. When two sentences refer to the same thing or are talking about the same thing, have the same subject, you can always put them together and make one sentence.
Okay. In this case, is Valencia, which is located in Spain, has a dense population of 1 million. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
In this case, it's a simpler one, right? Because we're saying that's the video, but we're not really telling anything about the video. And the other one is Talia made that video. So that's the video that Talia made. So it's a bit simpler.
Which was the other sentence? I mean, the first one was, that's the video. And the other sentence was,
Talia made that video.
oh, okay. Talia made that video.
Yes.
And when we mix it, that's the video that Talia made.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay. So another one. We heard the conversation. And that conversation will clear Nick's name. So since we're talking about the same conversation here, how would you put these two sentences together?
The conversation we hear will clear Nick's name.
Okay, but you're not using a relative clause.
The conversation that we heard will clear Nick's name.
Yes, that's correct. The conversation that we heard will heard. Here is in the simple present, right? And here is the past.
Heard.
Yes. So good. The conversation we heard, or no, what did you say?
The conversation that we heard will clear Nick's name.
Okay, yes, the conversation that we heard will clear Nick's name, yes. Or that we heard the conversation that will clear Nick's name too.
Okay, yeah.
Both of them
could work, yeah.
So notice that the relative pronoun, that always comes before the clause, right? We say that we heard. So we heard is the clause, that is the pronoun, or that will clear Nick's name. So it's always gonna go before the clause, whatever clause it is.
I mean, will be before of a relative clause.
Exactly. So we say that's, or we heard a conversation that will clear Nick's name.
Okay.
So will clear Nick's name. You know, the conversation will clear Nick's name. That will be the relative clause. And the relative pronoun needs to always go first. So yes.
So in my case, in the example I gave, the conversation that we heard will clear Nick's name.
So it's the same. The thing is that in this sentence, the relative clause is no longer will clear Nick's name. The relative clause would be we heard.
Yes.
So the conversation that we heard, this is the relative clause, and the relative pronoun goes first. Always.
So what will be the difference between these two sentences?
I mean, there's no difference at all. Not in meaning, at least. It's just the order.
Okay.
So, yeah. I mean, you know, there's the focus of the sentence will be. Like in the second one, you're focusing more on the conversation. The conversation will clear next name. That's the main idea. The conversation will clear next name. We heard is just more information. And in this one, you're focusing more on the fact that you heard the conversation. So we heard the conversation. That's the main idea. Now, if you want to give more information, you can tell me that will clear next name. But the main idea here is the fact that we heard a conversation. And here, the main idea is the fact that the conversation will clear next name. The focus of the sentence is different. Yeah. But the meaning is still the same. So yes. And we've talked about this. We can use who or that when the object is a person. And when it's a thing, we can use which or that. So which is for objects, who is for people, and that is for both.
Who and that. And what did you say? And which?
So here, I'm gonna write. So basically, who is for people?
Who and that.
Yes, who and that. Which is for objects, and that is for both. And that is a bit less formal, more common.
Okay.
People, which objects, and that is for both. And here they mention something about the pronoun whom.
Whom, yes.
So
a little bit more formal.
The soccer player whom the Federation is investigating is the very popular Nick Crawford. Yes. When it's a thing and not a person, we say that or which. So my conversation wasn't the only one that she recorded or which she recorded. So that is more common than which in informal conversation. So they don't change forms. So, I mean, this is kind of, okay, well, so they don't change forms, right? Because they don't depend on the main clause. When you say that's the man who I saw, or those are the women who I saw, I mean, there's no other way to say it, right? Let's do it in the present, in the simple present, because so is always gonna be so. But let's do it with, that's the man who I see, and those are the women who I see. So what this says is that you don't change the verb see of the relative clause. And that's kind of obvious because the verb see is not conjugated for these, for the men or the women. The verb see is conjugated for the pronoun that we have here, right? So that I see or that she sees, in that case, you need to change it because it doesn't depend on the main clause, it depends on the pronoun. It's like its own being. So who I see, who she sees, who we see. So that's what we have there.
Okay.
So obviously the verb, the way that you conjugate it, doesn't depend on the main clause. It depends on the pronoun that you have. So you conjugate it there. And this is what we talked about. Sometimes you leave it out, the relative pronoun, when you have a pronoun, another pronoun, right? So when you say Talia is the one who Nick wants to see, you can say Talia is the one Nick wants to see. And you can only do that because you have a different pronoun, Nick. So Newsline is the show that I always watch, or Newsline is the show I always watch. So you can leave it out, no problem, because you have other pronoun.
Ah, okay.
But if you didn't have a pronoun, like for example, I don't know, Tali is the one who recorded the conversation. Now you cannot do that. So you cannot leave the who out. You need to say the whole thing because you don't have another pronoun, do you? Tali is the one who recorded the conversation. So you're not talking about another person, you're talking about the same Tali. So you cannot say Tali is the one recorded the conversation. You need to leave it there.
Okay.
So whenever you have another pronoun, you can leave it out.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
No matter the pronoun, if I use who, which, that, whom.
yes, no matter the pronoun. Even if it's where, so you know, like that's the place I like to go. So that's the place where I like to go, or that's the place I like to go, or I like to eat.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So yes. So do you have any questions about these relative clauses?
No. No, I don't think so.
Okay. Good thing is that we can see them, so let's see what we have here. Okay, so let's do some. So what you need to do here is, let's start with the first one. So you need to name something. So for example, in the first one, you need to complete with the right pronoun. So name a movie, which or that you want to see. And then you need to do it. So you need to name a movie that you want to see. So what's a movie that you want to see?
Oh. Qué difícil. So I name the movie I want to see, or how I do an example?
Yeah, just tell me a movie that you want to see.
Eternals Part 2.
All right. Do you think there will be another one? Did they announce something?
No, they didn't announce, but I think there will be another movie, a sequel.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Because of the end of the movie.
Yeah,
They
usually.
they put parts for the next movie. So I suppose that there will be another movie.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna see, I guess.
Yes. Have you seen Eternals?
No, I haven't seen. I haven't seen it yet. I will sometime maybe this week. And I have some time. Okay. What about the second one?
So do I have to use like an object adjective for this, or this is just for speaking?
I mean, you're supposed to complete the phrase with a pronoun.
Ah, okay. But it is not for grammar.
No.
Ah, okay. I was confused because I didn't know how to use with object adjective.
Okay. All right.
Okay. good book. Crowd Roar I have read. So I don't know how to put the name of the book.
I mean, here you just need to choose a pronoun, a relative pronoun. So a good book which you've read or that you read, and then you need to tell me about it.
Ah, okay.
Yes.
A good book that I have read is Crossroad.
Okay.
I think I told you about this.
Yeah,
in
you
one.
did.
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember.
it
It was
has.
about the mob, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
It will be a I don't know how to say trilogy.
A trilogy?
Trilogy, yes.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I do remember. What about the third one?
Uh, a place that I would like to visit someday is Egypt, because I want to see the
Pyramid?
pyramids. Yes, and the camels.
Yeah. That'll be interesting. So much
Yes,
history, so much culture there.
yes.
Yeah. What about the person? I mean, the fourth one?
A person who I can count on will be my brothers. Because even if we are cold to each other, I mean, we don't express our feelings. We don't hug or kiss or say goodbye. If I need them or if they need me, I think I will be there or they will be there for me to give me an advice or something.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true about siblings. Usually you don't express feelings that much, like you do maybe with your parents or something, but it's a different kind of relationship.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
So
because I have two brothers and I am the only girl. So imagine that. When I was a kid, I was like another brother to them. I used to wear their clothes, play soccer, fight.
yeah, I can imagine that. But it must also be good, you know,
Yes,
for your parents maybe you were the only girl. Also for them, you know, it's like maybe they're being more protective with you.
yes, they were.
They are older brothers,
Yeah, older brothers,
both of them.
both of them.
Okay, so yeah, that must feel nice.
Yes, yes. I have no regrets of that. Like when I was a kid, I wanted to have a sister, but if they ask me now, I say no, I don't want to have a sister. So I'm okay having two brothers.
Yeah, you're like one of them now.
Yes.
Okay. So, okay, what about the next one?
Uh, a holiday that I always celebrate is Christmas.
Okay, what do you do for Christmas?
Well, for me, it's like this holiday is like a special day Not because we do a lot of Christmas stuff, but because we stay in family. We cook together. We make uh, brindis,
A toast.
a toast, yeah. And I don't know. For me, Christmas, birthdays are too important. I mean, I let all I have to do behind and focus in my no, I don't know, my family. Yeah.
That's good though, because some people don't pay enough attention. And yes, I guess that those are the little things that matter the most.
Yes, and I think that I mean, in my family, my cousins is like they live here, but their family live in Tarija, and for their birthdays, her parents don't came and visit them, and I was like, oh, why? I mean, my parents will visit me, and I don't know, buy me a cake or something, or have a lunch together. But for them, it's different, and I think for me it's not correct, but maybe for them it's normal. So it's very different, you know.
Maybe they're used to it. Yeah, maybe it's something that you get used to.
I used to celebrate all these years, and for me it's important.
Yeah. And I guess it is because, I mean, for me too, it's like important to make that person feel special, at least during their birthday. So
Yes,
yeah, it
starting
would,
for their breakfast,
yeah, exactly. So it's
they
kind of
have to start.
showing that you care.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Okay. What about the sixth one?
Person you don't say no. Mm. A person who I don't see enough probably will be my best friend because she recently got a job. So, I mean, we both have a jobs and we don't have time to see each other as we have when we are in college. So, yeah, I think
Things change, don't they?
yes, people grow up and get
Yeah.
mature.
Jobs. And then family.
And family could be my cousins.
Okay.
Yes.
So what about the next one? Although I'm not sure if we still do this.
Uh, Here in Cochabamba, we don't used to rent videos, but when I used to travel to Tarija to visit my family, there is a place when you rent videos. So we used to rent three kinds of movies, like horror movies, romantic movies, and action movies. No, four and for kids. I don't know
Oh,
how to say that. Yeah,
like cartoons?
cartoons. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, and we saw all these movies in one day, and we uh, tur- um, uh, I don't know how to say devolver al día siguiente. We return it the next day.
Okay, so you have that in Tarija. So is it like a common thing to do in Tarija or just a place where you can do that?
No, it's like well, not now because there's a lot of
Yeah.
platforms, so you can see movies. But when I was a kid, I mean, when I was 7, 8, we used to do that a lot, like 3 times a week, or I don't know.
Okay, that's nice. And
Yeah,
you got to see a variety of movies, I guess, from different genres. It's good to see different types of movies and not just stick to one type.
yes. The first movie that we used to watch probably would be romantic movies, and then used to horror movies because we'll be scared, and then cartoons or action
Yeah.
movies.
Okay. So
We were
yeah,
very
I
smart.
used to do the same with horror movies and their cartoons to kind of soften the thing.
Yes.
Yeah, it works. Okay, the final one, the eighth one.
A sport that I would like to learn. Um, mm, Probably golf. I mean, I don't know why I would like to learn that, but I think it's very interesting. I mean, it it looks like you learn. I mean, it looks very easy to learn, but I think that it's not easy as we think.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, I think the same. I think, it involves, I don't know, you gotta be very precise to be good at golf. And
Yes,
it's
and
math too, it's kind of geometry.
yes, strength.
So
You have to calculate.
yeah,
So it's
I
different.
remember I once tried and I couldn't even like hit the ball. I was like hitting everywhere but not the ball. So yeah, I
Uh,
guess not that it.
I don't even try, so I cannot tell you how it is. But for your explanation, I think that is hard.
Yeah. The thing is, there are not many places where you can practice golf here.
Yeah, I think there here in Cochabamba is the country club, the
Yeah,
only.
the country club. They have a lot of different sports there. There was,
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
there was some interesting sports.
Equitación. I don't know how to
Yes, horse riding.
horse
Yeah,
riding. Yeah,
yes,
swimming. I think football too. I
yeah.
don't tennis, obviously,
Yeah.
and I don't know.
So it was, I don't know how to say this, but tiro libre too. And I was kind of interested in that.
So
In-
tiro libre is like, uh, eso?
No, like with a gun and everything. So you're shooting to a very specific object.
Oh, really? I want
Yeah.
to learn that.
But I think you gotta be a member of the club to practice or to
So that's the
use
problem.
the facilities. I have
Okay.
two friends who practice horse riding there,
Uh-huh.
and sometimes they would
Invite.
take me there, but they're not here anymore. So yeah, and they
Oh,
were telling me about those sports and everything.
wow.
So yeah,
Something I like to learn, yeah, that's too. But maybe another life, yeah, because I'm not a member of country club.
yeah, that's the thing, and it must be very costly. I assume
Yeah.
to be a member of the club.
But I think I heard that there is another place that we can practice tiro al aire. Yes.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't
I
know.
heard.
I would love to try. And they told me that you even need to have your own gun. So they don't give you a gun. It's like you need to take your own. So yeah,
No. Wow. So where do I have to start? I don't even have a gun.
exactly.
Where do
Yeah,
I have-
like it's kind of
Okay.
maybe someday.
Yeah.
Okay. So all right. So the next thing we need to do today is these passive models. So we're gonna see what it is about. And it's basically the passive voice. So we have also seen this. Let's open this. So do you remember what the passive voice was?
Passive voice. Yes, I think.
Okay. What was it?
Uh, mm, okay. I think that, I mean, in a sentence, like, um, It's something that you said and you want to repeat it.
Okay, but I think you're getting mixed up with the reported speech.
Ah, yeah, I think I'm confused.
I'm going
That's
to give
the
you an example. So, for example, the passive voice would be, I don't know, maybe shooting stars are seen at night.
okay, yeah, that's a passive voice. Yeah, I remember. Like you're changing the order and you're emphasizing of the object.
Exactly, there you go. You're
Yeah.
emphasizing the object of the sentence. And why do
Yeah.
we do that? When do we do it?
When we want to emphasize the object and not the subject.
Okay, yes. When it's more important, right? The
Yeah.
object. So, for example, in that example, when I say shooting stars are seen or can be seen at night, I'm mainly talking about shooting star, not people. So I'm not gonna say people see shooting stars at night because what I care about the most is the
The
object.
stars.
Exactly. So that was the active voice is the normal one. People saw good luck flowers. And the passive one was when you would change it. So
Good
good luck
luck.
flowers.
Uh-huh. Yes.
And what we have here in the book is exactly that, but with modal verbs.
Okay.
So the active form, when we want to focus on the agent, Talia is going to interview Nick. And the passive, when we're focusing on the receiver of the action or the object. So Nick is going to be interviewed by Talia.
Is going
To be interviewed. That's the passive voice. Now, remember we said any type of verb form in any tense with modals, you can use the passive voice with any of those. So you can say Nick was going to be interviewed, or Nick was interviewed, or Nick will be interviewed, or Nick could be interviewed, or it might be interviewed. So it could be with any single type of verb form. And what we have in the book is when we use them with modals, with modal verbs. So it's just another, one of the forms that we can use the passive voice. So for example, with shooting stars, I can say, shooting stars can be seen at night. So that's with a modal, can, or could be seen, or might be seen, or should be seen at night. So it's just the passive voice with modals. Here we have a
But
table.
what happens if the active voice is not in past perfect? No matter what we use, if we have modal, we use modal plus be plus past participle.
Yes, it doesn't have to be in the past perfect at all.
Okay.
You know
Anytime.
that, yes, modals don't have a time,
Yeah.
like can be, could be, must be, should. It's a different type of form. It's not exactly a tense.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what tense you have. In the active voice, you could have I can do it, and in the passive voice, it can be done. Could do it, it could be done, must be done, should be done. The only thing you need to remember is that in the passive voice, we always need the verb be and then the past participle. Now, in this case, the only thing that's changing or that we're adding is modal. So modal plus verb be plus past participle. So any modal can be, could be, must be done, may be done, might be done, has to be done, shall be done, should be done, ought to be done.
Shall be done, should be done. Okay.
And I think here we have an explanation on what the modals are about. But we have seen this too. So basically it's the meaning of the modal verb. So when we use can, we can talk about abilities, like, I don't know, the World Cup matches can be seen all over the world. So are able to be seen all over the world. So we're talking about an ability with can, or a past ability, the past of can, could. So Nick's innocence couldn't be proven without Talia's help. So couldn't be proven, it's just the past of can be proven. So can is always for ability. When we're not too sure, and when we talk about possibilities or impossibilities, we use other modal verbs like may, might, can't. So Dean might be sent to jail for framing Nick. So it means we're not too sure. Do you remember when we talked about these modals of possibility? So might is like 75%. They might be sent to jail for framing Nick. We don't know if it's gonna happen or not, but it could be. Or the interview may be scheduled for later today. We don't know, it's like 50-50. The interview may be scheduled for later today. It's just possibilities. Can, should is for advice or for duties, or duties. So Nick should be, or Dean should be sent to prison. So he should be sent to jail. So there we're talking about duties. So he must be sent to jail. He ought to be sent to jail.
That's duties.
Yes, duties, or how everything's supposed to be, like everything. Dean is supposed to be sent to jail, we could also say.
Advice.
I'm not sure if it's advice, but it's like how things should be, how things should work. So it's like the ideal scenario. So yeah, the soccer federation ought to be told right away about Nick's innocence.
Like duty.
A duty, yes.
And
Or
had
better, which is another, it's not a modal, but it's kind of like have to. So the soccer federation had better be told right away about Nick's innocence. And this is kind of like in Spanish, maybe más vale que, right? So más vale que the soccer federation is told right away about Nick's innocence. It's like más vale. Not better.
Okay.
Or have to and must to talk about necessity or obligation. So they have to be told right away. That would be obligation. Or also necessity, things that we need to do. So this recording needs to be edited, or has to be edited, or must be edited. So it's kind of obligation, necessity. I have to edit the recording. The recorded has to be edited.
The recording must be edited.
Edited, yes. The recording must be edited. Or needs to be too.
Sorry?
Needs to be too.
Needs to be too.
Needs to. So those are some modals you can use.
Okay.
What do you think? Do you have any questions so far?
No.
Okay, let's see what we have in the grammar. Yeah. Okay. So can you read the first one?
Talia did a great job. She has to be promoted now.
Yes, she has to be promoted.
Will be seen, my confession will be seen all over the country.
Yes.
But you didn't show me the model wheel. It doesn't matter?
Yeah, it wasn't there, but it's the, I mean, it means the same thing. It's just future,
Yes.
right? So we'll be seeing.
So it's a future possibility?
Not possibility in this case. You're sure that it will be seen, right? Basically, the meaning of the modals don't change. So could was for possibility in the active voice. It's still gonna be for possibility in the passive one. Will is for future. It will still be for future in the passive voice.
Mm-hmm.
We will
Okay.
be seeing. What about you?
So it depends. Might be interviewed or could be interviewed. Might be, probably.
Mm, are you sure though?
Some could be interviewed with me.
But is that the passive voice?
Oh, okay. Let me see my confession. No, it's not a passive voice. Yeah, you're right. My interview me after practice today.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We have an object, right? So
Yes.
you can never have an object in this case. So Talia might be interviewed. You could say by me after practice today if you want to introduce the object.
Mm-hmm.
But in this case, Talia is the doer. So it's the active voice. So Talia might interview me. I might be interviewed by Talia after practice,
Mm-hmm.
right? So yeah, careful.
We have to keep the game honest. Um, we have to keep the game honest. Dim shouldn't be allowed to play professional sport again.
Good. You shouldn't be allowed.
Yeah. Mm. Dean had better finds a good lawyer
This one finds.
because it's he. So
Okay, but when you have a modal verb, do you conjugate the verb, the other verb? You say he should finds.
no,
All
you're
right.
right. Yeah. They had better find a good lawyer. So yes. This practice is all mixed, no? Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not just the
The passive voice, yeah. Might be voted most valuable player this year. We called Dean Bishop, but he couldn't be located for his comments on his history, on his story.
Okay.
Next fans must be told. Next fans must be told the truth.
That's right.
No. Amen. Next fans must be told the truth. Okay, that's confused. Could be tell.
It could be tell, but think about the context. Think about Talia and Nick's fans.
Must be known. Could be. We change the verb, but
Must be known? No.
the truth.
No. They must know the truth, but they don't have to be known the truth. They have to know the truth in the active form. They have to know the truth, right?
So must be told.
Yeah, it's okay. The thing is, you know, what's Talia's job? Talia's job is to tell Nick's fans the truth. So Talia is the one that's going to tell the fans the truth. So the fans must be told the truth by Talia.
Okay.
They don't have to tell the truth because they were never lying, you know, they were just uninformed. So they must be informed the truth.
Must be informed the truth.
Yeah.
So,
You know,
yeah.
what? With the verb tell, you use it a lot, the passive voice. Especially when you receive like instructions and when you learn something new, you're like, I was told to wait here. So it's very common to say, or I was told not to do this or not to do that. So when you receive instructions or when you are informed on something.
Beginning, for example.
I'm sorry?
Like if you're starting a new job and you make a mistake, and someone tell you it must be told for the beginning or at the beginning.
Yes.
Or when you start, okay.
Exactly, must be told from you. Okay, so that was right.
8 to 8 with your help.
But it's just that you read between the lines too. I think that sometimes in this, for example, this one, the last one, grammarly speaking, tell is okay. They must tell the truth, but you need to think about the context as well. So that's why sometimes it can get tricky. Just read between the lines.
Yeah, but I don't understand. Like Nick's fans must be told the truth. Can you translate it for me? Because I'm not understanding.
I don't know how it would sound in Spanish because we don't use the passive voice that much, but it could be like, I don't know. Yeah, we don't, it would sound weird in Spanish because they're, right, they're in servicios. Or maybe.
Sabrán la verdad o algo así. Deben ser informadas.
Yes.
Okay. That makes more sense.
Must be informed about the truth.
Yeah. Informed.
But don't think in Spanish. Think about the active form, right? So Talia must tell Nick's fans the truth. That's her job. So now try to put this into the passive form, right?
Talia
The
must tell
object.
True, that's her job.
This is the object.
Who must be tall?
Okay, that's nice. Yes, the thing about this is that you have two objects, right? Nick's fans is one of the objects. So this is the receiver, right? The receiver of the action. So Alia must tell Nick's fans the truth, must tell something to Nick's fans. Now this is another object. This is what Talia must tell. So it's a different object, but the truth is not receiving the action. In this, with this verb, tell, two people are involved, Talia and Nick's fans. Talia is the one that's doing the action, and Nick's fans are the ones that are receiving the action. So this needs to go at the beginning. So Nick's fans must be told the truth by Talia. Right? So Nick's fans, the object, the receiver, the verb, the passive, and the doer could go at the end if you want.
Okay. Yeah, I think.
The thing about Spanish is that we don't use this with the passive voice. We don't say dicho. But in English we do, like I was telling you. It's quite common to say, I was told to wait here.
Me dijeron que.
Exactly. So you use the active form in Spanish. You say, me dijeron que espera aquí. But in English, you're not going to say, they told me to wait here.
Yeah.
Because who's they?
Yeah.
Right? Here we don't say, ellos me dijeron, because it's implied. Maybe that's the reason why in Spanish we use it more, less.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So, yeah. All right. So is it okay? Any questions?
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Did you have any questions from the previous assignment?
No.
Let
The
me know
one
if you...
yesterday?
Yes.
No, I don't have questions, but I fail in the listening part.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay then. So okay, so I'll send you the homework tool to right now actually.
Okay.
And please don't forget the survey. And you got one more question in there. I'll see what we have.
Okay.
Okay. So thank you, Mafe. See you tomorrow.
Tomorrow, thank Andrea.
Yeah.
Bye. Bye.
Bye bye. Have a nice night.
You too.